In a quiet corner of Nairobi, amidst the hum of boda bodas and the distant cry of matatus, 23-year-old Zuri lived a life buried in shadows. Shadows cast not just by the towering skyscrapers of the city, but by the weight of her mother's cruel grasp. Zuri was a bright soul, once filled with dreams of becoming a renowned fashion designer. Her sketches, bursting with vibrancy and Kenyan heritage, used to fill her notebooks. But all of that changed on a stormy night 5 years ago. That evening, the rain poured like the heavens were in mourning. Zuri and her father, Baba Tunde, were on their way home from a community fundraiser. Baba Tunde, a man whose laughter could light up the darkest corners of Mathare, was driving. Zuri, then a naive 18-year-old, had begged him to stay longer at the event to enjoy the live band. Baba Tunde had been tired and putting in a lot of hours at work. "Honey, I'm really tired, and I still have to be up early tomorrow." But Zuri insisted, "Papa, you promised besides. I don't have school to go to for now. Let me enjoy." Baba Tunde couldn't say no to her, and so they stayed into the late hours of the night. The roads were slick, and the headlights from oncoming vehicles blurred into blinding streaks. Zuri, distractedly scrolling through her phone, screamed too late. A matatu swerved into their lane. Baba Tunde veered off the road, the car crashing into a tree. Zuri escaped with minor injuries, but Baba Tunde didn't make it. The guilt gnawed at her relentlessly, a constant echo of, if only. Her mother, Mama Mwende, was quick to stoke that guilt, turning it into chains. "Zuri, I sacrificed everything for this family, and look where we are now," Mama Mwende would wail as she waved a stack of unpaid bills. "It's because of you that I'm alone." The emotional manipulation didn't stop there. Mama Mwende demanded Zuri hand over every shilling she earned from her small job at a boutique in Ngara. If Zuri dared to save money for her sewing machine fund, Mama Mwende would sniff it out, accusing her of being selfish. Zuri's life had become a relentless cycle of pain and exhaustion, and it was not just her body that suffered, it was her mind and heart. Mama Mwende didn't just place heavy demands on Zuri. She made her feel like she was unworthy of love or happiness. Every time Zuri looked at her mother, she saw disappointment and resentment etched on her face. It was as if her mother blamed her for every single hardship in their lives, and Zuri carried that blame like a stone tied around her neck. Every morning, Zuri's alarm would ring before dawn, and her heart would sink knowing the day ahead would be filled with thankless chores and biting remarks. Mama Mwende's voice was like a whip, always ready to lash out. If the tea wasn't warm enough, Zuri would hear, "You can't even do this one small thing right?" If her mother's clothes weren't folded perfectly, there'd be another insult. "What good are you if you can't take care of me?" Zuri never got a moment of peace. Even when she sat down to catch her breath, her mother's sharp words would pierce through the silence. "Do you think life is easy, Zuri? While you're sitting there like a queen, I'm the one carrying this family." Mama Mwende never let her forget the accident that had taken Baba Tunde's life. She used it like a weapon, guilt-tripping Zuri whenever she showed the slightest bit of independence. The mental strain was unbearable. Zuri felt trapped, like she was living in a cage where her dreams and desires didn't matter. She couldn't save her own money without Mama Mwende accusing her of being selfish. The sewing machine she wanted felt like a distant dream. Every time Zuri tried to imagine a better future, her mother's voice echoed in her head. "You'll never succeed. You owe this family everything." Zuri started doubting herself, wondering if her mother was right. Maybe she didn't deserve to dream of a better life. Maybe she was the reason her family was broken. The guilt ate away at her, making her feel small and powerless. At night, when the world was quiet, she'd cry silently into her pillow, afraid her mother would hear and scold her for being weak. This emotional and mental torture wasn't just about the words Mama Mwende said. It was the way she made Zuri feel like she was nothing more than a burden. The once vibrant girl who dreamed of dressing the world was now a shadow of herself, walking through life in silence, hoping one day she'd find a way out. One night, after Mama Wendy had gone to bed, Zuri sat by the window, staring at the city lights. She thought about the girl she used to be, the girl who dreamed of dressing the world. Was that girl gone forever? A small voice inside whispered, "No, she's still here." Zuri took a deep breath and started researching sewing schools in Nairobi. She found one that offered night classes. The tuition fee was steep, but her heart raced with hope for the first time in years. The next morning, Zuri quietly put her plan into action. She started selling handmade beaded jewelry at Maasai Market on weekends, lying to her mother that she was working overtime. Her creations, intricate and vibrant, quickly gained attention, especially among tourists. Slowly, she saved enough to pay the first installment of her tuition. Mama Mwenda, however, began to suspect. One evening, she cornered Zuri as she came home, clutching her bag tightly. "What are you hiding, you sneaky girl?" she barked, grabbing the bag and spilling its contents. Out fell her sketchbook and a flyer for the fashion school. Mama Mwendi's eyes burned with fury. "So this is why you've been neglecting your family? You've been running around pretending to be productive, but it's this nonsense that has been distracting you. Stupid, useless dreams? I had a dream too. Zuri and you took him away from me. Now look at me. Even you know I was never like this. You made me this way. You ruined us." That night, Zuri didn't sleep. Her mother's words rang in her ears. She battled with her guilt and regret. She looked outside her window at the moon that was peeking in. "What do I do, Papa? Please help me." Next morning, when she woke up, she felt something stronger had taken root. Her defiance, she felt lighter, brighter, and even warmer. She faced the numerous tasks her mother had for her as punishment for having too much free time to think about useless things, as she put it to her, and that night, sleep came easier and quicker. The next day, she enrolled in the school, ready to face whatever storm came next. Mama Mwenda tried everything to break her spirit, cutting off meals, spreading lies among relatives. She must be seeing some boy. She has become very defiant and talks back at me with no respect. If only her father was here, she wouldn't behave like this. She even threatening to evict her. "You can leave my house and go meet your numerous boyfriends. Hope you don't send them to their makers too soon." The words and the venom that laced her mother's voice when she spoke these words still hurt her. But Zuri found strength in her newfound community at the fashion school. One day, she received a life-changing opportunity. A local fashion showcase was looking for new talent. She poured her soul into her designs, blending the vibrant colors and patterns of her Kikuyu and Kamba heritage with modern elegance. The night of the showcase, the audience gasped as her models walked the runway. Journalists swarmed her, calling her the next big thing in Kenyan fashion. Zuri stood under the spotlight, tears welling in her eyes, smiling brightly as she looked up, hoping her father could see her and wishing he was there with her. In the crowd, she saw Mama Mwendi, her face unreadable. As Zuri stepped off the stage, Mama Mwendi approached her. For the first time in years, she looked at Zuri with something other than resentment. "Your father would have been proud. You were always the apple of his eyes," Mama Mwendi whispered. It wasn't an apology, but she wasn't looking for one. She had forgiven herself and was at peace with herself. That was enough. Zuri had finally stepped out of the shadows. The guilt and pain of the past no longer defined her. Instead, she walked forward, her path illuminated by resilience, talent, and hope.